Welcome to Northern Lights. I'm Dwain.
I'm Mark.
And we're going to recap UFC 275. I loved this card. It was really, really fun. We came out with a banger straight away with Zhang VS versus Joanna 2. I didn't know quite what to expect with this fight because after the 5-round fight, 5-round war before, it seemed unlikely that we'd get a knockout. And so first round, Zhang VS dominated on the ground, took Joanna down and just pummeled her on the floor. I thought she was going to get a submission at some point. And then second round, she came out and with an amazing spinning back fist, knocked Joanna out in the second round, which really, really surprised me.
Yeah, I think reflecting on the first round and stuff, we said, didn't we? Because this was our live stream. We live streamed our reactions to this, and we was talking and saying, like, you just see how much bigger Zhang is and how much stronger. She was just ragdolling her a little bit. Well, not completely, but you know what I mean? Just like kind of she was having a way with her essentially. Sure. And then second round comes in and she gets that. It was almost like a delayed finish or a delayed reaction from Joanna, wasn't it? Because she turned around and she had intent with that spinning back fist, landed it, and then Joanna sort of stumbled a little bit and then fell flat. I mean, it's a settling, deciding factor of that rivalry. I know there's only been one fight as well, but like you said, there's that build-up tension there,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because like we were saying, we wouldn't be 100% surprised if it was a lackluster fight compared to the first, because you compare everything to that first one. But maybe the inactivity from Joanna being out for over 2 years and, Zhang's been busy. Maybe she just upped the game and everything. I mean, we'll never know now, but, Joanna, it's not like she didn't look like she should be there, but it just looked like she couldn't get going,
Yeah, for sure. And it shows, isn't it, like how that inactivity affects you, isn't it? 2 years and not fighting. And Zhang VS has obviously been putting a lot of training in. She's really upgraded herself as a fighter. And that's not even just me saying it as like a fan of hers. She really has improved tenfold, because in that first fight, she barely took her down. And this time it was very, very dominant. That was an incredibly dominant victory. Yep. But it's sad though to see Joanna losing that fashion and retire in the octagon, because she is one of the best women's fighters ever. She really is. But what would be next for her, right? You think, no, it probably is about time to retire, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you look at that, and I hate to sort of discredit her because of the last few fights that she's had, because, that Zhang fight, even though she had the huge balls,
the big alien head,
yeah, people still to this day think that Joanna could have won that. Yeah. She was in it right until the very end. It wasn't as if it was just a one-sided dominant victory. Then in this fight, it did end. But she did say that why she took off that amount of time, she said, I was just busy doing things with my life, with my family and all that kind of stuff. So, and if you wasn't to know who the fighter was, and I was just to tell you the scenarios and the situation, wasn't even in the rankings, came back after a 2-year layoff, maybe she's thought, there's more to life than training and doing all this. So, if she's happy, then happy retirement. I mean, it's been a good career. She was the champion, she had great fights. So, fair enough if that's what she wants.
100%. And it's really exciting to see where Zhang's going to go next, and hopefully we'll get a fight with Esparza. But talking of championship fights, let's talk about Joanna versus Taila Santos. This fight,
Valentina, not
Valentina.
Joanna.
Who did I say? Joanna, yeah.
Yeah.
Valentina. Sorry, I am very tired. It is like, what time is it? Nearly 7 o'clock in the morning. We've had a long night. But yeah, Valentina versus Santos. With a split decision for Valentina, which is a shocker in itself, because Santos took down Valentina quite a few times throughout this fight, but even when she did, Joanna looked very scary and very
Valentina looked scary.
Oh, Valentina.
I'm gonna blame it on the lack of sleep and the energy drinks. It's fine.
100%.
But you know, like say with the you know, Santos was going for like a rear naked choke, and Valentina looked like she was more offensive. She was throwing more offense. Like no matter what position on the ground, not all the time, obviously. You know, pressed up against the fence. She was throwing shoulder strikes and things, but I don't get how that one judge could give it to Santos, to be honest. And it just is what it is. It's just a little bit. What fight did you watch? It wasn't a 100% domination victory, but it was. You could clearly give Valentina the nod.
I agree, and it's weird, isn't it? All three judges had it very different, and that's a problem, isn't it? You know, it's what criteria they're going from. Because I do get it; it is difficult because, you know, Santos took down Valentina, but like we said before, Valentina just looked so dominant while on the ground. So you think, well, you can't give that to Santos, surely. But I think it's really put Santos above the pack in that division. And I think we'll probably get a second fight down the line. I think if she beats someone else in that division, maybe she fights Molly McCann. If she gets a win at UFC London, we could certainly get a rematch. But overall, a really good fight. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I don't think anyone would complain if that was an instant rematch, to be honest with you, as well. Because when you get a fight like that, and you know you do get a back and forth. Like I said, it wasn't just a one-sided victory for Valentina. It was a back and forth. So I think it does warrant a rematch. I'm not sure about straight away.
Yeah.
See what happens with Santos, because we've seen it many times before, you know, where someone's either on a winning streak or they've got a very impressive record and then they get the one loss. So maybe we'll see what happens. But leading into the main event, Dwain.
Yeah.
The main event, that was intense. That was real good. That was everything you'd want in a championship fight, to be honest. You know, back and forth, it was exciting. Crazy. What did you think about it in general? Just the fight, not the outcome, but the fight.
I loved every second of it. I was, because that's the thing, is we say it all the time, but as fight fans, it's so exciting when it's back and forth and it feels like it could end at any moment. Glover looked phenomenal. You know, he came out that first round and dominated Jiri that first round. Apart from the last minute or so, not even minute. Last 10 seconds.
That was actually worrying as well, because it was, you know, when you see the clock go down that far and someone's like throwing little rabbit punches, you think, they'll be fine. But Jiri was shooting to kill.
They weren't rabbit punches, were the big elbows. God,
like you said, Glover's ground control is ridiculous. And obviously, the big elephant in the room is that he is 42, and that's all that everyone seems to talk about. And I almost feel a little sorry for him, because it almost feels like people are ushering him out the door. And like, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? You're like, just look at his fights and take it for what it is. He's a great fighter. He can throw bombs as well. He rocked Jiri in round 3, was it?
Yeah.
Heavily. And he went for a guillotine. And I can't help but think, Dwain, if he'd have just carried on throwing punches, he might have got the TKO win there.
Yeah. I don't think it was quite round 3. I think it was later than that. Was it round 4 or 5? It was late.
Might have been 4, but they were too slippery as well, weren't they? Because they're too sweaty. But
I think it was round 5 actually, and he threw some bombs, and Jiri was gone. He looked rocked, and then it was a very poor decision by Glover to go for that standing guillotine, because it just changed the whole fight. You think you could have finished it there. You could have ended it. But talking of you know, poor decisions, it did look like in the first round Jiri tapped. It was a bit weird, wasn't it? He was mounted in a body triangle and he was tapping, or was it the second round? I'm not sure, but it was very early on. It was a very
there was a few times during the fight where he did that, but then Bisping had said at one stage he was like kind of just little petty taps in the face, but he was doing that on his back and things as well. And you're like, you've got to be careful with that kind of thing, as you know, like I don't know what the thought process was behind that. But do you remember, like, you know, in our live stream we said, did he just tap? Is that over? Because it looked like nothing was happening. Like he just tapped from exhaustion in round 1 or something.
Yeah. I thought that's what
Jiri looked good as well. Yeah. He is that strange, unpredictable style, and I thought Glover dealt with it well. There was a few times where Glover, it looked like it was just open and Jiri could just rain down on whatever he wanted to.
Sure.
But again, I was so surprised that I thought that fight was going Glover's way. If that would have gone to decision, I thought Glover would have edged it. But 30 odd seconds to go, maybe 33 seconds to go, Jiri secures in a rear naked. He hasn't even got the hooks in. He hasn't got his heels in, and he just squeezed in. It was just a perfect rear naked choke. It was just a squeeze, and Glover could do nothing but tap. I mean, it's a shame for me personally because of that little bias that I have. I really like Glover, and I was rooting for him, but it is what it is. It was a secure choke. You know, you can't do anything about it.
Definitely, and it is a shame, isn't it? Because Glover was so close. Like, he'd won that fight. You know, I'd have been shocked if the judges had have gone any other way with that. And he was so close to getting that defense. And he made a mistake. And when you make mistakes, you pay for it, you know. And that's what fighting is for me. It's these high-level competitors who are all just as good as each other. It's about who makes the least amount of mistakes. And unfortunately, Glover made too many.
It was that one where you think, if you just carried on punching it, you could have had that. Because Glover's, people don't talk about his chin enough, and they don't talk about his striking power enough. He can throw bombs as well. Like, you know, he clearly rocks Jiri, and that was a scary moment for Yuri's team, I'm presuming.
And there was so much blood everywhere.
Looking for Glover.
Yeah.
But to end on a, you know, Czech Republic has now got their champion. Jiri Procházka really does shake up the division of to what happened. I can only presume that we're getting Jan Blachowicz and Jiri next, unless Glover gets a rematch because it was so close.
Yeah, which is possible.
But to end on a high, Dwayne. When DC asked Glover, it was so good. When DC asked Glover, he said, "What's next for you?" Again, this is the thing of everyone pushing retirement, almost pushing it onto his plate. And he says, "What do you think? Did I look 42?" And he says, "You look great." And he says, "Well, I'm going to keep going." Then and you're like, "Great."
It's an amazing feeling, isn't it? And I really hope we do see Glover and Jiri too. I think it'd be an amazing fight, and I'm really excited for it. Overall, a really good card. Thanks everyone for watching. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really does help us out.